be our leaders, the playmakers for us. But kind of just go through it quickly, just kind of talk about kind of what things that we've done in the last year or so, talk about spring, and then maybe the upcoming season. Any questions y'all have, we'll open it up. But first, we'll look back at, Josh, my man over there, SID, he made this PowerPoint for us, and it kind of put things in perspective for me of just all the things that we've been able to do in a year. And a lot of it is employers, it's coaches, it's their families, it's you guys that help promote our programs. We're very thankful for everybody that's involved in this. So going back to last year was our first lift-a-thon, and we just finished up our new one this year. And our lift-a-thon has been a huge success for us, not only for our kids to get stronger, but also for some fundraising things that we do. And this year, talking about that a little bit, is we got a sideline protector that's been shipped today. It's on the sideline, big blue thing. It's got a big paw in the middle, kind of like they have at UT. So we got that. It's on the way. We got new play clocks coming. They're going to be in here hopefully by spring. We can find some electrician to hook it up. I'm not know about that. But those are some new things that we take this money to provide not only for our players but for a whole Friday night environment. So I know a lot of you guys help with those guys at lift-a-thons, and these guys go out and try to our program good. So we've been 2 years into the lift-a-thon. It's been a huge success for us. Last year our spring practice, it was a first for a lot of us. A lot of new kids coming out that spring, and we had a good group of seniors that got us through that. And last year was one of the best spring practices I've ever been a part of. The way we kind of set it up, and we had some success going over Southville. And but last year, we got into that spring practice, scrimmage in Southville again, showed a lot of progress for us. And I think that moment last year kind of helped our program. People understand that that we came a long way in a short period of time, and that was kind of what we were looking forward to. That. Then the blue and orange game, and we had Austin Price and John Bryce here, and I think they're going to hopefully maybe coming back again this year. We're still looking exactly how we want to do that. We got some other things planned for our blue and orange game coming up this year that we're going to look to see if it's feasible for us to do, and of course we'll get that out there as soon as we can. We're trying to make it a family night. We get close, but we're going to try to, after the game, have our players stay with their families. We got to look at timing and all that to watch a movie on the field. We're going to hang a screen probably by the goalpost and hook some speakers up if this is feasible. So we're going to make sure that works. So we release that yet. We don't know yet, so we're going to try to do that. And then our future Cougar camp, last year, our first year, I think we had like 11 people. And that's mostly our kids, brothers and stuff. And, last year we had over 100 kids. And I appreciate you guys out promoting that. You did a great job, and it was a huge success for us. It's good for our coaches to kind of see what we got coming up. It's good for our players. I always tell the better players are the ones who go out there and coach them. Because that means they understand what they're doing. They can go out there and demonstrate for those young kids. We get over 100, and our relationships with those little leagues have gotten so much better. At least since I've been here, I know we've kind of helped them get that new field. I don't know if it's not ready yet, but that was in the works. And a lot of other things that the relationships with those younger kids are so important as we move forward. Playing at England Stadium last year been a huge thing for us. As of today, we are going back there next year, so I think it's August 16th or something like that. So it was a great, the guy that's over, he was very pleased with the way that our crowd came out. He's like, man, that was a huge crowd for you guys. And when we came out, y'all cheered for us and everybody, so that was speaks a lot, not only for our kids, but to all the support that we get from everybody. Schedule last year, the results. And I'll talk more about this as we go. Improvements from 2011 2012. These are things that, sometimes in life you got to understand that process, and we all want it so quick. Our standard here is not going to be going 3-7. We're not happy with that. We don't want anybody a part of this party to be happy with 3-7. But we are pleased with the progress we've made, and I think you can see here from 2011 2012. Offensively, our first year here, we averaged 17.8 points per game. Last year, we scored 200, which was 20 points a game. Again, I think in 2010, the year before we got there, it was about 10 points a game. So we've kind of doubled over the past 2 years, which again, I think it shows improvements. We got to continue to get better. I think that's the second most points ever scored here. So you can see where we're at. We got to get a lot better to get where we want to be. The bottom stat there, and this is where I hang our hat on. This is where we got to continue to improve here. This is a major improvement. Our first year, our defense gave up 37 points per game. And in 2012, we only gave up 26 points per game. So you look at it, and you go from losing by 20 points to losing by 6 points in a matter of a year. And I think in 2010, I looked, the year before we got there, it was like 10 to 39 or 38. So it went from 28 to 20, or it was like 28 out of 20, now to 6. And a lot of that's our defense. And guys, we had a very good defense last year. We were top of the district. Offensively, we were good at times. You got to get more consistent with that. But very proud of that last staff defensively. And I'm an offensive guy, but Matt and those guys do a good job. And we just got to keep getting that better. Okay, that's where you win games on the defensive side of the ball. And you can see from last year's game, you guys know we win every game. We lost a lot of games at the end. That's kind of been our thing for our kids to understand how to finish. You know, we tell them if they can't finish the workout, you can't finish the block, there's no way you can finish the game. And that's something we kind of try to instill in these guys as much as possible. Individual records last year, a lot of records failed in certain games last year. Some games that we won, some games that we didn't win, but completions, about every passing record here has been rewritten. You know, whether it's tough or now even. And so that's something we're proud of, but again, you know, that's just where we need to be. And as much as we throw the ball, we expect those numbers to go up. A lot of game records, individual other records there you can see. Those are more passing. I'm glad I didn't have the most interceptions. You know, Jeffrey's big on, I wouldn't be on that list, but he can have that. That's the only one I'll let him have. I'm kind of mad about the yards and everything else. No, you know, you can see Ethan's name's up there, you got them all. You know, as a sophomore quarterback again, but that's not about him, that's about the receivers and all the linemen, the protections, all those things, all that works together. His name will be on there, but, you know, that's some good things. Receiving records there, Brandon Long in both airs. You know, Coach James, he always talk about he's the best receiver player, but I don't see his name up there, so we have to put him in his place when y'all see him. But, you know, we got some good receivers back, and we expect to even increase those as more as we go. Again, Gustavo last year, as a freshman, came a long ways. Okay, came a long ways to the point where, you know, we trusted him to kick a field goal to beat the number 4 team in the state. We felt like he could get that, but, you know, he's came a long way, and again, he's back, and hopefully we're getting a soccer team here next year that I think will even help our program as we go into these areas, punting and kicking. Score records again, you can kind of see all the ones that we broke. Season records, all those, you guys know as well as I do. And we will show those records. The main thing is to show the progress we made and for us to kind of put that we're going in the right direction. There's a lot of things that we got to improve on, and we'll continue to do that. And I worked for Coach Kerr for a long time. My first year coach always said stats are for losers. He said, if you spend your time in stats, you're for losers. And I agree with that at times, but I think also it puts into perspective of what you're doing, where you're trying to go. So very proud of all those records, but that's what they are. They're records. They're for old guys like us to sit around and talk about. We don't talk to them about our kids. We don't want them to talk about them, but we want them to move and try to break maybe some individual goals for them. So, but that kind of 2012 was a great year for us. We learned a lot about some players. We're going to lose a lot of players from last year. Got Slayton playing at University of Cumberland next year. I know they're very excited about having him. I think Brandon Long, we're looking at him maybe going to American College. Talk to him, he's waiting on track. And so I think we're going to have that practice signing in the next couple of weeks. We're trying to work on the details of that. And so 2 guys that are very good, that play a lot of ball for us and made a lot of good plays. And kind of talk about the spring practice. First I want to do is kind of talk about our coaching. Most of our staff stayed the same. We lost Coach Dallas, the short guy. He moved on, and we picked up Coach Turner. He's going to move to offensive line. He's played at Carson Newman, was a center there about 3 or 4 years. Played a lot of ball. He was the center. They went to the 4 overtime game back in the day at Carson Newman. So he's going to bring some experience to our offensive line. Coach Sweeney he's going to help with the offensive line, but he's more going to focus outside linebackers. He's going to be our associate head coach for us. And then everybody else staying the same. We're going to have Tuffy. He's going to come on and volunteer and help with us this year. You know, he was one of those players really impacted me as a coach. And was here, like he was a coach. And he's had a year away from him, which I think is good, but he's going to come back and help. And now he can throw those balls that me and Coach Jay can throw. We can't get him out there anymore. So, but Tuffy, we're trying to work. He's in school, but we're going to try to get him on. He's going to be a good influence for our kids, especially our young kids. But other than that, our staff is intact, which I think is very important, that our kids build relationships with whoever their favorite coach is, but that they're here, for their 4 years, 3 years, however long those guys are here. I want our coaches to be here, because I think that's the most important thing is develop relationships and be good role models for these guys. Go ahead and get into spring practice. Some dates there. Our first practice is obviously on Monday. Our golf tournament's on Wednesday that week, so we'll be off, and then we'll go Thursday and Friday. We're going back to scrimmage Southville over there on Thursday the 16th. Okay, so it's kind of set up the same way. One thing that we're doing different this year is, as of right now, as long as something doesn't change, we're going to go down to practice one day at Jacksboro Middle School. We're going to get on the bus, go down there and practice. We talk to their coaches, and I want our guys down there because all play there, but also I want their middle school players to come and see us practice. Whether it's just for an hour, 30 minutes, I want them to see how our guys go through practice, and because we can sometimes tell them, but when you go there and show them how we do it, I think it'll be a good experience for those guys. Then we're going to fall on the 21st, and then the blue and orange game is going to be May 23rd at 7 o'clock. And so those are the dates that we have set. Again, it's kind of with the way the weather is this time of the year, it may rain us out. On certain days, we got to move stuff around. But as of right now, this is kind of where we're going to be. I think it's all in the code. Mr. Parker? Okay. And before we open this up, you guys got anything? So I just want to say, kind of give you a preview of how everything's been up to this point and how I feel like the spring practice is. Our kids have worked very hard. I know some of you guys were here for our lift-a-thon. Say Monday, bench almost 400, and Nick over there squatting the school bus. I don't know how much he did, but it's a lot. But all these guys have worked hard. Matt does a good job of getting those guys in that weight room and teaching them discipline, but also getting them stronger. It's kind of now where we've got to make it functional for them. They got to take that weight, take it to the field, and take it to the grass, and the techniques and stuff that they use. So they came a long way, and but you don't bench press on a football field. So we got to make sure that we get these guys to understand how you can take that to the next level where we need to be. As far as spring practice goes, this is going to be the first time that we go into a spring practice or a season for that matter where we feel like as a staff, our players understand our expectations, and that's from seniors all the way down. We've always had good buy-in. All our players have been all in with about 80% of it. One thing that we've noticed in this off-season is every player that's here now, especially the upperclassmen, they've been with us now for at least a year. And that's one thing that we wanted to get to, and we knew it would take some time. But this is the first time that we can go into spring practice where every player understands our expectation of how we're going to practice, how we expect them to behave themselves on the field, in the classroom, and all those things. So that's one thing that's going to make it easier as coaches for us. And our players now we're trying to transition to being a player-led. For the 2 years that I've been here, a lot of times our coaches are the ones that got to be the tone setters. We're the ones that have to tell the guys to do things the right way. And like these 5 up here, they're doing a great job a lot of times telling our young kids how things are supposed to be done, whether it's technique on something or it's how to do a lift. And that's very important for a coach, because it's all about these guys. And the more comfortable they are about how we do things, the better it is. So we're excited about the spring. It's going to be a lot of competition at certain positions. Obviously all 5 of these guys are back. We expect big things out of them. It's no secret that we're all district, or already mentioned all district. Monday playing nose. Again, I think one of the best nose in the district last year and this year. One thing you guys will see Monday when you watch him, he's a lot more aggressive this year, and his motor's a little longer. He can go a little bit longer. He's a big guy, but he's trimmed down. He's carried around, 290? But it's a different 290 he's been carrying around the last 2 years, so we're excited about that. Evan's the same thing, always a big kid, but he's gotten a lot stronger. He's up 300-pound bench press now, he's still like 12 years old, going to be a senior, but that's a different, he's a younger. But so we're excited about those two guys, Ager and our front on both sides of the football. I told everybody, to me, we got the two best linemen in the district, especially as a combo. And Corey at receiver had about 30-something catches last year. He's worked extremely hard ever since day one we've been here. We expect better things out of Corey. With his height and size, he's a mismatch for anybody that we play. And we tell him every day it's up to him to use that to his abilities, and we think he will. We got Ethan back. He's a junior quarterback. He was the district rookie of the year. Came a long ways. We're still working on some technique stuff to make sure we get the ball out quicker, stronger, and be more consistent. But one thing about a quarterback is you can't replace experience. No matter, I've coached guys before, it don't matter if they're starting first year senior, junior freshman, that first year start was tough. And Jeffers for his first year last year, he had some ups and downs. Seymour was probably a low point for him, which we expected. Maybe not as bad, but we expected a little bit. But you can kind of see and you guys have seen his progress through that. But he's one he's been in here Tuesdays and Thursday mornings throwing and getting better every single week. And I think you guys are going to see a quicker release, a better ball flight, better timing and everything that he does, and a general understanding of our offense, which is going to help us go at a faster tempo and also be able to call some plays that puts a little bit more on his shoulder. We got Nick back, linebacker, all district 2 years in a row. Again, I think one of the best linebackers in the district. I think last year he was one of the top. Great tackle. We put him in a white shirt in the spring. Y'all see him out there. Just we're afraid he's going to hurt other people, not that he's going to get hurt. The way he tackles is phenomenal. He gives some game rolls and they're down right there. So Nick's been a great leader for us on defense. This year, you'll probably see a lot more on offense. I think he had one carry, one touchdown last year. So I think as a coach, that got caught. But he got caught back. Dogs are getting the ball as they score. But Nick's he's trimmed down a lot too. Very explosive in everything he does, and that's why we're going to put him at center receiver and tailback. So you'll see him more out wide as well. We got some newcomers coming. One kid coming down, used to be up from Whitman County. He moved in. Preston Miller, we're excited about. Still got a few injuries with Dylan Presnell, his ACL. It's an 8-month period unless you're Ethan Simpson come back in 3 weeks. Everybody else, mostly 8-month recovery for that. So he won't be in the spring with us. It'll probably be July till he's there. But based on his position and his body, for his size and stuff, it's going to be a process to get him back here. But we expect him to be here in the fall and cause him havoc like he did a few games last year. But as far as that, I think our senior class is not too big, but they're a good group of guys. And they're going to lead our team, I think, to another standard that we want to try to get to. But other than that, we'll just open it up if you guys got any questions for me or for these guys, and we'll just go from there.
Hey, Coach, I know it's early, but has there been any significant injuries other than Fresno? Any weightlifting injuries or basketball injuries that may tie into the season?
Right now, I think there's a few guys on trade. He went from football to basketball, and now he's back to football. His knee's been bothering him a little bit. So we're trying to make sure that that's good to go before we send him out there. But I think he'll be okay. He's working out right now, but just the wear and tear on the body so much. AAU basketball and that. But I think that Bradley Durham, Bull, big offensive tackle, he had the same injury as Jordan Kendrick did last year. Broke the side of his foot. Well, it's like 90% healed the same way Jordan was last year. But Jordan came back and it snapped. So you guys know the story to get him back halfway through the year. So we're kind of watching Bull right now to make sure that thing's 100% healed up before we put him in a lot of high intensity drills.
So what about Cordell? Is he still looking at him in the backfield? Is he to make progress?
Yeah, Paul, we're very excited about him. I think that he's the same nature as Nick. They're two very explosive players. Whether it's power clean squats. They have great hips, and they move from point A to point B as quick as anybody we got. And Paul, he's mature for a sophomore. I think he's about 25 right now. But he's another works hard in the weight room, and you guys can see his physical appearance has changed dramatically. But also, I think mentally, I think Paul's become especially our after school, he's become a natural leader in there vocally. And I think that's always a kid that we're trying to get to, where they're speaking the same language that we want them to. Paul's one of those guys. Trey played a lot back there, was all district performer. Corey played a little bit towards the end, but that's part of right now. We're waiting for some guys to step up. We got about a group of 8 skilled guys, and we got more than that, but 8 guys that's kind of pushed themselves to the top right now that we're going to evaluate this spring, put them in some situations to see if those are the guys that need to be out there. But I'm confident we've got 4. We probably got more than that can do those jobs for us. But it's going to be some young guys that maybe some new names that you guys haven't heard of.
Corey, you've had a really good career already as a wide receiver. What are your expectations for yourself coming into your senior year?
Probably get more focused on defense a little bit. I mean, coming in, not really playing that much. It's gonna be tough, but I think I get the job done on defense too.
Outside of Corey, Coach, what's some of the other wide receivers? Who's the other wide receivers that you got that you all are focused on? We understand we've got a young gunslinger over there, and this is a 2-part question, but not only slinging the ball, but are you going to focus a little bit more on running the ball?
Yeah, we for receiver wise, Corey, we got back and Trey, both over 30 catches last year. We expect those guys to be there and more this year. Also moving Nick over to the receiver position is going to allow us some dynamics that we may not have had before, where he can play some tight end, we can move him around to H-back type. Joseph Elkins is a name of a kid that had a good, successful JV year, that he works very hard. He's got some off-the-field issues we got to take care of to make sure that he's in the right place all the time. But he is a good kid, and we expect big things out of him as long as he buys in everything that we do. We got Jack Jeffers that's come out so far this off-season, really starting to develop more and more. I think Tyler Loveday's another kid that we're real high on. Had another great off-season, but also had a good JV year. We played him at quarterback a lot, but he's more of an athlete type. He can kind of go anywhere we want to. Who am I leaving out, Coach? Kane Hill. I think Kane, he's been a quarterback his whole life, and he's transitioned into that wide receiver spot. He's got great feet. He can run and jump like a deer. But we got to make sure that we get those hands, that hand-eye coordination. And those are a few names. Tommy Lawson's back out again. That was Jeffers' man in middle school down there for Coach Barker. So we're going to make sure that Tommy stays out because he's a huge help for us. And again, he was out there throwing around a little bit today. So it's good to see those guys. And we got a lot of guys to choose from right now. But those are some of the names that kind of stood out to us right now. As far as running the ball, I agree. This one thing is off the square. We kind of analyze every year what we can do better. One thing everybody's so scared to death of our passing game in the last couple of years that our running game, we know we don't spend much time on it. We're averaging 4, 5, 6, 7 yards a carry against most teams. I think we had 3 plays last year where we lost yardage running football, which again, we got to make sure we make that more of a point of emphasis, whether it's Paul running the ball or Jeffers over here is about 215, mentioned 300 pounds. Jeffers has worked hard for that. His body's going to be more durable to run the football. Again, I don't expect Jeffers to run it, more than 3 or 4 or 5 times a game. But, I think even against Powell last year, we opened up the game and we ran it and we went right down the field and scored. And forced him to make some adjustments. And that's one thing in our off-season meetings, me and Ethan, we talk about it. If he can be the threat to run the football, it's going to open up our passing game so much more. And then we got one in the gym at receiver right now. It's Monday over here. He's going to wide receiver drill. And today, Coach Davis, was he the best one today? I don't know. He may
definitely top 3.
He's
definitely top 3.
But Chris has been out there running around with him, so he may have to go number 6. He said he's number 6. So I'm confident we'll find out. We look to have 4 to 6 guys in our line we can play. I'm pretty confident.
Talk about how he's coming out now. How encouraging is that to see these guys coming in the program and incoming spring?
It's good. I think that we, our first off-season last year, we averaged about 55 to 60 every day in the off-season. Now, we're averaging at least 70 every day, high end up to 80. And that includes the freshmen that we've signed on. But, that's, anytime the numbers are more, it just gives you, as a coach, you got more kids to evaluate, more people to fill certain positions. So it speaks a lot about just, I think, the direction our program's headed. That's one thing that you try to look at your numbers. If everybody's not playing, then obviously you're not doing something right. So we try to make it exciting for them and fun, but also disciplined enough where they're going to be better people and better football players. So it's encouraging to see all those players come out. And these guys do a great job recruiting hallways. They go out there and they wear all this Nike stuff that says Cougar on it. They're proud to wear the Cougar football at our school. And the negativity and stuff is getting less and less everywhere I go, whether it's in the school or community, in Knoxville, wherever I'm at. It's when I wear this, they're like, hey, y'all are doing good things up there. So that's our players are selling, our coaches are selling, you guys are selling. So it's and that's what's going to take us. Numbers will help us get where we want to be.
Andrew, you had I think, a really good year last year on the defensive side of the ball. What do you look to do this year to probably even expand that and do even better?
I'm just going to try to get faster, so that I can be more, like, be able to go across the field more.
You and Christian, you're going to be playing both ways, correct?
Evans will play both ways Monday. We'll probably spot play him on offense right now. He's a really good offensive lineman. We not played him there, but he's got a lot of potential up there, even at the next level. A lot of the guys are coming evaluating right now, so we're going to try to play him left over there. But again, we got to make sure he gets into shape to do that. And with Evans defensively, we're going to play him at a different position this spring to kind of see how he does. We're going to move him where Cougar was last year, at that outside line, strong outside linebacker. Evans is playing basketball. He's very athletic, he's so big, so we're going to try to take advantage of that and just basically put him on one side and every people go over there.
I know that you've been transitioned from a great middle school quarterback to a great high school quarterback. You've been in Denver a year now. Now that everybody in the district pretty much knows who you are, what do you do to step your game up with these teams? Now they know what they're looking at when they see the Jeffers on the field.
Well, I just gotta make myself do better to keep that in their minds, to make them think that I'm there. It would be a lot better if I could get faster and run the ball, so it would keep defenses honest about their fronts and all the people in the box. But if we can run the ball, like kind of do some option stuff and try to keep people honest, not much, but I think it'd be a lot of help.
Nick, with all the weight that you've lost and have plans to play a little bit of wide receiver, has it ever crossed your mind about how durable you would be as far as on the defensive side of the ball over a period of 5 and 6 games, 10 games?
At linebacker?
Yes.
Well, the weight loss, it wasn't really much. I'm still up to 215, but I think I'm just gaining a little more muscle back. But not really, I don't think it would be, it's obviously going to have to be in better shape, but durability I think will be fine.
Okay.
Yes, we got to be careful as coaches that we document kind of how many plays he's been on offense, especially on Friday nights, that we don't carry it down. And, because, Nick, playing linebacker, it's tough to play both ways. It's just the physical demanding on every play that you'll have. That physical compared to what people have. So his running ability is there. We just got to make sure that we're going to have to spot play early on. It may be early in the game where we need him the most, and then make him rest every other series. So, but Nick is one of those guys. He'll get his body ready, whatever it takes. But we want to he'll always say he can go. But as coaches, we got to make sure that we make that he's 100% throughout the whole course of the game.
Corey, what are some of the things that you're working on in the off-season as far as focus and catching the ball better?
Running routes, a lot of our DB drills. Probably working with tennis balls the most. Just catching a lot every day. Even inventories and defensive player, offensive lineman
transitioned over to the basketball side of things after football this year. Do you think that, you play basketball, obviously, you do a lot of zone defense in basketball. Do you think that helped you understand the zone even better as a linebacker? Playing from that perspective?
Yeah, I'd say it probably would. I mean, you gotta move in basketball. You got a smaller area you gotta cover, but I mean, it helps you keep your eyes going all the time. That helps, and basketball helps with footwork too. Because I mean, you have good feet by basketball. Yeah, I'd say it probably does.
District, all district 2 years in a row, what's next?
Hopefully All State. That's everybody's talk of that and state championship. Those two.
Hey, Christian, I gotta know, I've been pulling for you on this, and you haven't run yet on bench press.
I haven't tried it yet, but I think I'm gonna go close to it. I've got it.
And you showed the timeline was there, 2011, 2012. You all set goals, you get 6 numbers on those numbers.
That's one thing we try to stay away from as a staff, is talking about numbers. Coach James and Coach Price are back there probably right on the whiteboard drawing up the numbers, wins and losses, who we can beat, who we can't. But no, I'm just kidding. As a coach staff, we try to make sure that we just focus on what we can control. I think at the end of the year, if you do that, you look back and you see, week 8, I had no idea that was the difference. But I think that's one thing to keep in mind, that if we keep doing what we're doing, just get a little bit better. And if that points per game on defense goes down, that points per game on offense goes up, which I know it will. Obviously you're going to win more football games, you're going to be positioned to win more football games. But I think to get to that, it's just kind of going back to the basics, make sure we're tackling better, and all those things. And all the buzzwords in college right now is, with Chip Kelly's win today, and with Nick Saban, it's all about trust the process. And I think that's true in any business you do, especially football. You kind of see those big pictures and the numbers at the end, but if you just focus on every single day, just get better, whether it's a bench press or your class, you do those every day. The process, it kind of takes care of itself. And when you come to a problem, you deal with it that day, you get that fixed, and you move on. And because I feel like a lot of times as coaches, I did this earlier, when you put a number to something and you don't reach that number, you get so disappointed. But then you forget to look at where you started and where you are now. So we'll try in the back of our mind, we know some numbers. I like it to be about 6 and 42. 42 points are offense, 6 on defense. But if we do the right things and we play up to our potential, there's no reason we can't be whatever we want to be.
Coach, last year, there was number 57 came in and helped out the linebackers when they were taking breaks. What was his name? Is he back this year?
Yeah, Dylan Taylor, he was kind of our third linebacker last year. Slate playing both ways, and Nick playing a little bit both ways. We knew, Matt likes to have 3 or 4 guys ready on each side, so he suffered a concussion late, Dylan did. He was kind of forced into role early on with Rudball getting hurt, and Jordan Kendrick, and Simpson. All those guys were ahead of him. So when they got hurt, kind of forced him in there, but he was able to gain a lot of experience. He's working hard right now. We expect him in the spring. He'll take more of a leadership role and more of a spotlight role on defense, and we'll go through positions to see what he can and can't do. But he's fully recovered from his concussion now, so we expect him to be okay.
He had a lot of hustle. What grade is he?
He'll be a junior. Yeah, he's a great kid. I don't know if he played in middle school or not, so he kind of came out late, but he's kind of fearless, and he gets in there. We got to teach him how to hit. I think the new NFL slogan is heads up football or eyes up, whatever that is. So we got to make sure we teach him the correct way to hit, so that he understands using that adrenaline, that aggression that he does have the correct way. He's going to be a good linebacker. I think it's like I said, we losing Slayton and Simpson, all those linebackers we lost last year. We got to make sure that we develop those guys. And Dylan's one of those guys that come to speed training board and work his feet work, but he's also developing his strength. And he's a great leader too for that position.
Dylan Taylor, right?
Yes.
Do you feel like that you're a young team as far as not the experience, but as far as the underclassmen and things like that?
I think we'll have. I feel like we're very experienced in key roles and key positions on the team. Anytime you can have your top 2 receivers back, Trey, Corey, your top rusher back, and Paul, and your quarterback back, probably your 1 or 2 leading tackler at linebacker, Bailey. and your two best defensive linemen back. That's kind of where you win football games. However, that's 7 or 8 guys. Our job as coaches is to develop those other 15 that we need. If we can play 25, 30 guys a night and have them all Friday night ready, that's what I think will be very successful. So with that, I think we're experienced and seasoned at key positions, but those role positions, those role players, like that third, fourth receiver, or that outside linebacker, or that second or third safety, those are the guys that really have to develop their game, and we got to make sure that they're prepared mentally and physically to step in those roles.
I've got one more question. I may have more, but
Keep it coming.
as far as the schedule this year, it's a pretty good schedule. Favorable. We've got all the big games here at home. You've got Cumberland Gap the first game, then you go to Lincoln, Kentucky. Obviously for me, I'm looking through orange-colored glasses, as Frank would say. I'm thinking that that's 2-0. But I also understand that it's about numbers, and you don't want the kids to focus on numbers. But how do you feel about your schedule for this year coming up?
I'm very excited about it. I think towards the end of last year, the unfortunate thing about our schedule since I've been here was it was kind of top-heavy towards the end. You got Central and Oak Ridge and Powell staring in, which have been traditionally the top of our district. This year we've kind of spread those out. But one thing I noticed at the end of last year, we proved as a program that we're not far off from Powell. As a team that I felt we competed well, and even Oak Ridge, who was a top 5, top 10 in the 6A program. It was 13-8 in the third quarter. Defense stunning the whole game. Offense moved the ball, just kind of hurt ourselves there. So with our schedule this year, I think we put ourselves in a situation and given ourselves some opportunities by spreading things out, and also by our non-district schedule, put ourselves in a situation that's favorable and allows our kids maybe different ways to prepare for those games, whether it's, sometimes you get all those in a row. You don't want to play LSU, Alabama, whatever was good, Arkansas, Tennessee, Florida, all in a row, you know what I'm saying? So we spread it out more, and I think that's going to help us that, and with the two newcomers, with Cumberland Gap, I think that's a huge rivalry for us, and that's kind of our focus right now, to beat one of that's to beat Cumberland Gap. That's one team that we do talk about right now. We want our guys to respect them, but I also want them to, not fear them and understand they're going to get our best that night. And then with Lynn Camp coming on, I don't know much about them right now. Our coaches have different teams that in the offseason, they kind of become experts at, so we're waiting to hear about that.
They're not a real big school, by the way. This is the middle school and high school all in one building.
Yeah, we know it, and I think maybe the last.
We're going to spank them.
I hope so. You never know to go to Kentucky, so maybe the dads out there repping for us. But I think Lynn Camp, they beat Camp last time they played. Last 2 times, what I hear. So they're only a small school, but they're going to have a chip on their shoulder, and that's a new situation. Our program may not have been in a while, where you're going into something as the big dog, and I'm anxious to see how our kids respond when we go there week 1. And then we've lost Hardin Valley, they're out, moved in Gibbs, which again I think is a good matchup for us. Hardin Valley is a huge school, 2,000 kids or something. So they moved on to their issue. If we get Gibbs, who's again all I know is they're on Georgia Tech, Wishbone, like some of these guys used to run so well. Maybe we draw the defensive game plan that week. So that's a challenge. Nobody else in our district runs that. So you got to play sound football, be disciplined, quarterback dive, pitch to make sure everybody's on those. So I like our schedule. I think it's great for the fans. You got Henderson County here, which last time they were the biggest crowd I believe they've ever had in school history. You got Clinton here again, homecoming, which last year they kind of spoiled our homecoming tremendously for me. I don't care if my brother Walt's the head coach here, but I got that circle back on mine. But you got Clinton, and then they got Oak Ridge at home again, and then Cougars Gap at home again. So you're talking about all the kind of the natural rivalries there. It's going to be a lot of exciting Friday nights, I feel like.
You talked about the schedule. I know that Powell and Oak Ridge both had coaching changes in the offseason too. How does that impact you're gonna see a different style of football from those guys.
You
You
know,
know, get used to the last couple of years.
right, with Oak Ridge and Joe Gatz back, who had a tremendous run there for 10 years in the 90s. So, you know, what you're going to get him, you're going to get a disciplined, tough, hard-nosed football team. That, you know, kind of what schemes they run, I don't think it really matters with them because, you know, you're going to have to scrap it up that week. Oak Ridge is, you know, traditionally a powerhouse, and so we'll have to be prepared for them. Powell, you know, a lot of things going on there right now. They hired the defense coordinator from Central, which is a pretty good friend of mine. So, you know, at Central, though, he's kind of manned them up, bring everybody else they don't have. Clinton's not, or Powell's not used to run that style of ball, so I'm anxious to see the transition they make. We don't play them in week 10, so by then, we'll be able to see kind of what they do. You know, they got some good players back. Owen be a quarterback, and a couple of receivers there, so they'll be good. They'll be prepared, but we just, again, I think it's good. Again, I talked about earlier, is having our staff here as much as we can. So our kids understand us, we understand them, kind of what buttons push, what buttons not to push, and, you know, we make sure they stay motivated.
This is your third year. Your expectations, I'm sure, coming into this season is much different than they were the first 3 years. And every year, you and the coaches have to come up with something different. What have you got up your sleeve this year?
We got a few things. We got some new paint, so we got play clock, silent protection. Sometimes I feel like I run out of ideas, but no, you know, we got some things that we think will be cool that'll add to it. We got some music ideas. We got a brand new sound system up there. We're gonna put that thing to use next year. We're gonna hear us playing. Our defense is gonna have a theme song. Our offense is gonna have a theme song when they come on the field. I'm gonna let Gustavo pick some music when he goes out there to kick it, whatever he needs to do. So we're gonna have it's gonna be fun. We want to make it more of an environment. And I think the next thing we're gonna talk about is y'all see in the spring. We're gonna do some different helmet things this year. Our helmets are gonna be white, but we're looking at decals. It's gonna be different. In the spring, we're gonna have the blue team is gonna have one decal, and the orange team is gonna have another decal. And we've even thought about, which Sandy works great with us. They do the decals for us, and we may even have, like for homecoming, we can have a different decal. That's something nobody else does around here. We're gonna try, you know, maybe a different decal or something. But we got some things planned that I think will be fun for our kids, our coaches, but also the fans when they come to Friday night. They'll come. They'll want to bring people with them to see our football guys. I want to show these guys off. I love having these five up here. I like these five walk around and get some damage done. So I just hope everybody comes out and sees these guys, the hard work and the progress that they've made. And you know, by year 3, you kind of thought these are your guys now. You know, more so than when you're coaching somebody 2 years. You know, when you only coach somebody 2 years, every kid is hard to reach. Some of them you get them like when they want, but some of them it takes time. These guys, it's kind of all they know since we've been here. When they've been playing football, that's all they've seen. So again, it makes it easier for us, but it's exciting to see what these guys are going to do in the next 6 or 7 months. Any other questions?
Coach, how about your overall speed?
Overall speed, that's one thing that I think that we're going to try to get faster in certain positions. You know, like with Paul coming out, he's gotten faster. Corey's tall, he's 6'4", but in the past he's been about up 25. So he's gained some more strength in his legs, which makes him move those big long legs quicker. Ethan's gotten faster, and you know, the top end speed is hard to change sometimes, especially when some teams will play, we just won't be faster. But what we try to stress our guys to get from point A to point B, 5 and 10 yards at a time in football, that's where you win. And that's one thing, our guys are very explosive. We do tons of power cleans and those functional lifting that you can transfer to a football field. So our top end speed, I think, we're a little bit shorter at receiver. Maybe some of the guys on the outside of Corey, but they're more explosive. They're fearless, and they can get those things. I think they'll make somebody miss it and maybe extend the play as long. But I think hopefully you will see in the spring and in the summer is that 5 to 10 yard explosiveness, where out of the gate were quicker. The top end speed, I think, will come. You know, I think Corey got an opportunity. I mean, he took 180 yards last year. Trey took 180 yards against Oak Ridge. I mean, that's crazy. You know, not many football teams have 280-yard touchdowns in a year. So we're excited about getting those guys in space and seeing what they can do. But from as a whole, either Monday or Evans and all those guys that we got coming back, that 5 to 10 yard range, we want to get there as quick. We call it bursting. You know, from one point to the other, we want to burst. That's a change of speed, change of body language. Get there to there fast as we can go. So I think that maybe not top end speed, but those short bursts of speed, I think we'll have a lot improvement. Ed has a question. He wants to know if Monday and Evans are going to get in a fight with Carnes again. Evans trying to start stuff already. Evans said he wasn't going to ask though. Evans' question. I told him we weren't going to fight him. No, they're too high. They're too safe technically.
Anybody got any